everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining your virtual drinking buddy. So tonight, I thought I'd crack open one of these. Sharp Street Stout by Keg Creek Brewing. Picked this up a couple of weeks ago. I had vouchers from almost a year ago. I purchased through actually local Fox affiliate. $100 got you 5 vouchers to 5 different breweries. So, and this brewery, you got 2 crowlers, and so I couldn't wait to do the review of the other crowler that I got. It was an Oktoberfest. It was delicious, so I went ahead and drank it. But yeah, and then I got their stout, which is one of their flagship beers that they've been making since they opened in, I feel like it was 2011. Yeah, July of 2011. So Sharp Street is, I guess, one of the more busy streets in town. It runs on the south end of our little town square. There's a couple of schools located off of Sharp Street at either end of it. But so yeah, it's one of the more prominent streets in town. Although I live in a town of like 5,000 people, so take that for what you will. This weighs in at 5.3% ABV, and I feel like this might be an oatmeal stout. If I remember, I'll put what kind of stout it is here. And I've had it before, but it's been years. I don't go down to the brewery very often, and when I do, there's usually something new that I haven't tried, or I will go to my favorites, which are their red. Their brown is really good. They make a apricot wheat that is really good. And then when I was down there picking this up, I got a flight, which I actually got 5 glasses. Little, what is it, like a 4 or 5 ounce glass in a flight. So, and I had a bunch of stuff that I haven't had before. Was able to get some check-ins on Untapped. And yeah, they were delicious. I think there was a couple of imperial stouts. I feel like maybe a barley wine that was on. I'd have to go back to my Untapped and see what all I had that night, but everything I had was really good. All right, well, it poured out nice and dark, like motor oil. A brown head. Nothing khaki about this. And I'm getting, it smells like cold brew coffee. It smells delicious, so I guess there's only one thing left to do. Cheers. Medium body is thick as that looked pouring out. I was expecting a little thicker, a little heavier, but I'd say medium body. It does offer up a nice coating. You can feel it on your teeth. Roasted coffee notes. That's really all I'm picking up. I've had this sitting out on the counter for probably 25-30 minutes at this point. So I'm sure it's warmed plenty. Yeah, that's all I'm really getting. It tastes kind of like a cold brew coffee with like a little bit of sweetness, but I couldn't associate like a specific flavor to the sweetness. But very good. I mean, it's a fairly standard stout. So if you like stouts, like just basic stouts, this would be a fine example of one. Excuse me. Oh, how terribly crude. I do apologize. Doing these batches of videos, the bubbles really build up. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Nobody should have to bear witness to that. I do apologize. So yeah, very good beer. And like I said, this is one of their flagship beers. And I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but when they first started out, they had, you know, their set list, and I think they had like one tap that was available for small batch stuff or seasonal stuff. And then when they started out, it was a fairly small place, and then they moved to a bigger facility just south of town, but they still managed to stay on the Keg Creek, which is an actual creek. And what we were taught in school, when I was in 5th grade, we learned, you know, local history. And we were told that Keg Creek got its name during Prohibition, that people would hide kegs in there to, I guess, keep them cool and avoid Johnny Law. But I have a hard time believing that it didn't have a name before that, so it must have just been renamed. But so yeah, Keg Creek is a real body of water that runs through Glenwood. That's our source of water, I guess, the reason why people settled here. And then outside of town, several miles outside of town, there's also a Keg Lake. I'm not sure if that's the official name, because I learned about it in high school taking kegs out there and partying. So I always assumed that Keg Lake maybe got its name just because that's where it was just far enough outside of town that you could go and party and not have to worry too much about the law. Although I did realize sometime after I graduated that you can actually see it quite well from Interstate 29. So yeah, you go out there and you light a bonfire, people can see that. Somehow I partied there, I don't know, a handful of times, not too many, but somehow never got busted. I think probably because it's far enough away from any houses that nobody really hears you. So yeah, fun little history lesson and personal story of mine. But yeah, back to the beer. It's a fine beer if you're ever in Glenwood or you come across it. I don't think this is one that they distribute. They just have a handful of beers that they distribute. But if you can make it to the brewery and try this, very solid beer. 5.3%, it's actually quite sessionable. It's not so heavy that you couldn't have a few of these. Although this mug is getting heavy, so I need to wrap this up. I'm gonna set that down real quick. Alright, that's all I got. I do appreciate you watching. I hope you like my stories, my history lesson. And if you did, go ahead, hit those like and subscribe button below. And don't forget to tell your friends. And this is the Vaulted Gentleman reminding you, you only have one liver, so use it wisely.